What's going on, everyone? I hope you all are as excited about the market this week as we are. There is a lot on the schedule. The man, the myth, the legend, Jerome Powell is coming back this week for a crucial FOMC interest rate decision. This is happening as the market is still very close to all-time highs, and it has been over 250 days since the stock market has had any major pullback. At the same time, corporate defaults are rising at their quickest pace since the Great Recession, and marijuana stocks, of all stocks, are starting to go crazy. So we have a lot to talk about today. We have some great setups and predictions for tomorrow, so stick around to the end of the video. And with that being said, Tom, let's get right into it.
Yeah, Mike, the overall market did pretty good today. We saw some good jumps to the upside. A lot of that came in pre-market trading with Apple and Microsoft's news, and that ended up making the market do pretty well. Now, in the middle of the day, these stocks started pulling back. You can see Apple heading into close had a pretty big pullback. If we go to Microsoft, it's actually a very similar move. So overall, Mike, the market did pretty well, but from open to close, we just didn't see that explosive movement out of the SPY that I actually was looking for. It was more slow and choppy just to the downside, although in pre-market it was looking great. So overall the market was pretty decent today, and we can't forget about Nvidia's event that's going on either with their AI conference that could possibly change things. They're going through speeches and unveiling certain things and etc. at these events over the next couple days.
No doubt. So we'll talk more about that in just a couple minutes, but looking at SPY for a second, we could see it is still so close to its all-time high, which, is a good thing. I'm definitely not complaining about that, but at the same time, you have to acknowledge the fact that the market hasn't really pulled back at all over the past couple months. And this is pretty crazy. So looking at this chart right here, we can see the number of trading days without a pullback of at least 2% just keeps on marching higher and higher and higher. So long story short, the market hasn't pulled back in a while, and this is the longest streak since 2017. So most of the time we see a big pullback by now, so it's just a matter of time before this trend breaks. And Tom, you can't help but think if Powell's going to be the one to break that trend on Wednesday.
Seriously, Mike, the FOMC interest rate decision on Wednesday is going to be so crucial. And honestly, we all know what's going to happen this time, right? It's going to be a pause. There's a 99% chance anyways. If it's not a pause, don't come after me, right? But at the end of the day, the main thing is looking out for the future here. So we have to see what JP says, but hey, he's the big dog out there, right? Everybody watches him usually whenever he has these events. So let's go, Mike. That's going to be a big thing here for the S&P 500. And that all-time high has a bit of a double top going on around 518. That's been pretty tough to break. And we've been seeing some big chip stocks like SMCI and Nvidia starting to actually pull back a little bit here. Even with their event, they didn't have the best day. They almost went red there.
Yeah, so Jerome Powell definitely has his work cut out for him this week. He has to step up to make this week a green one. But talking about the FOMC interest rate decision a little bit more, on Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern time, Jerome Powell is going to decide whether he keeps interest rates the same or whether he starts to cut them. There is currently a 99% chance that he keeps interest rates exactly where they are. And while, like Tom said, that is mostly priced in, the biggest thing is kind of what Jerome Powell has to say with that interest rate announcement. If he is super hawkish and, you could say pessimistic, then the market can easily fall. At the same time, if Jerome Powell works his magic and words everything in a way where it's just just enough to be bullish, but not too bullish where it gets too euphoric, then the market can hold up fine. But 2 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday will be the most important day of the week, and then Jerome Powell will start speaking 30 minutes after that, so at 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. Pay attention to this. This is the most important event of the week. But while Jerome Powell will have his event on Wednesday, I saw some pretty scary data come out recently that basically shows that corporate defaults are at their highest rate since the global financial crisis. This is certainly not a good sign. And as people look at the stock market, it has been basically all sunshine and rainbows for the past couple of months now, right? And, while that's awesome, there are still some serious risks with the economy going forward. So I just wanted to bring this up because, the stock market is showing one story where the underlying economy is looking a little bit different.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like that the Federal Reserve almost, that's kind of like their job, right? Like they want the markets and they want the economy to do as good as possible, but they don't want it to, necessarily like get to the point of recession, right? And that's the big word everyone keeps saying is going to happen at some point this year. Maybe it will at some point, Mike, and then we'll start to get our 2% pullback, right? But if they start talking about recessions or something, that could be rough. But to see corporate defaults at these levels is definitely a worrying sign. And we've been seeing other worrying signs too, like credit card delinquencies and just debt in general rising. Like it's been awful out there.
No doubt. One thing that has been looking pretty good, though, at least today, is what's going on with these marijuana stocks. So when you look at ticker symbol MSOS or CGC or TLRY, these are all marijuana stocks, and MSOS is an ETF, and they just crushed it today. So, Tom, tell us what's behind this move, because we haven't seen these stocks move in a big way in a little bit now.
Yeah, we've actually talked about the DEA rescheduling marijuana for a while now, and Kamala Harris over the weekend met with a guy named Fat Joe at a roundtable event. Fat Joe, I didn't even understand what it was at first, honestly, but they met and they talked a lot about, obviously, marijuana reform and different things in that type of in that type of sector, right? And whenever I'm looking at this, Mike, they're trying to reschedule this. She actually made a lot of statements saying that it's pretty absurd that marijuana is scheduled worse than fentanyl, right? Like, I don't know, a little drop of fentanyl can kill how many people? So it's kind of silly that marijuana is scheduled the way it is, and they're putting a lot of pressure on that. So we'll have to see if the DEA starts to, reschedule this, but that's kind of starting to ramp up here, and these MJ stocks had a great move this morning off of it.
Exactly. So when it comes to marijuana stocks, essentially they move a ton based off of news and sentiment and events and sometimes earnings. But really, whenever there is good sentiment favoring these sort of companies, they can really blast off. And that's exactly what we saw today. These stocks do tend to have big moves in clusters. So most of the time they do absolutely nothing. But like once a year or so, or even sometimes even less than that, they just go absolutely ballistic. So keep a very close eye on MSOS, TLRY, CGC, and just some other marijuana related companies, because again, when they go crazy, they really go crazy, and there was a lot of volume that flowed into these ones today.
Yeah, and I think that, people have been waiting for this news for a long time, and with it starting to ramp up more, that's just going to start to create more and more pressure. So, and we're into the election year, right? They probably have some pressure to try to get this done, obviously, before a different administration possibly gets in or something like that. So, let's see what happens with these stocks, Mike. But like you said, whenever they go crazy, they really go. I mean, there's so many cases here where these stocks are going up well over 100%, like Tilray, 125% right here on its last huge run.
Exactly. And then one more thing I want to add is that, as we all know, politicians love to promise whatever. But what I do think is interesting, as you said, is as we have the elections coming up, the current administration might be more quick to actually get some, things done in this sort of sphere, where these stocks might have a lot to benefit, because time isn't necessarily their friend given the election year. But keep a close eye on these stocks going forward. But another pretty big piece of news that came out today was with Google and Apple, Tom. I haven't seen Google have the move like they had today in quite a while. So what's going on here?
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. Google had a major breakout as they actually announced that Gemini could be used with iPhones now. And I think that that's pretty insane here. They're looking to maybe license it, and that's going to be a huge deal if this ends up going through. I have seen some stuff that says that there could be antitrust issues with this. Obviously, you don't want two companies like this being, I guess, too friendly with each other. You know, you could kind of monopolize things a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's very good news, I would say, for both companies, and especially, I would say, for Google. You know, they're getting to license this. Obviously, it's another good feature for the iPhones, but man, to see Google run up like that in pre-market, that was one hell of a jump by one of the biggest companies in the world.
You know it. And for those of you who don't know what Gemini is, it's basically Google's version of ChatGPT, so it's just like an AI chatbot. But yeah, keep a close eye on Google and Apple going forward. They have some good momentum right now, but it isn't truly like super strong momentum, so just keep that in mind. But Tom, earnings season is creeping back up on us, and we have a pretty good lineup for the week. So what's on the schedule?
Yeah, tomorrow we have XPEV before the market opens, Wolf in after hours. Those two are just, you know, not the biggest companies out there, but they could end up moving quite a bit. Now, Wednesday we have PDD and then Micron in after hours. Everyone's watching Micron this week. It's a chip stock. Obviously, what's been running the show lately? The chip stock. So we got to watch Micron. Even Chewy in after hours there will be pretty good. Nike and Lulu and FedEx will be pretty big on Thursday. So, you know, it's not like we're seeing Apple or Google report, but still, Micron will be a pretty big one.
Yeah, I agree. Well, with that being said, Tom, let's get into the good stuff of the day, which are some setups and predictions for tomorrow. One stock I'm watching very closely right now is Coinbase. So this stock has been blasting higher over the past couple of months, and the uptrend, like a lot of other stocks recently, is starting to slow down. So I am looking to play this one to the downside. I would like to see it get back to that $200 level, but it can take a couple days for this to happen. I would love to see a breakdown back below $230 a share, and then just a flush lower down to 200. Again, it could take a couple days for this to happen.
Yeah, Coinbase has a lot of volatility in the short term. It recently had a dip. It's been consolidating here pretty harshly, so I'll definitely be watching it for a big continuation, possibly to the downside, obviously. We have to see how Bitcoin is. You know, Bitcoin is crazy, Mike, and it seems like all these big stocks that have been running are starting to give up momentum. And talking about giving up momentum, my next play is the same thing. SMCI down 6% today. This stock has been falling quite a bit the past couple weeks. You can see it hit that high recently around like that 1220 area, and ever since it's been breaking these key supports like 1100 and 1080, it's been really falling off a cliff. So I'm going to watch this one for a continuation tomorrow down below 950. It actually closed below 1,000 today, which it hasn't done for a while.
All right, good stuff there. Another stock I'm watching pretty closely is CGC. So we were just talking about it. It is having some great momentum flow into it. The price action has been amazing, and I think this one has a good shot at continuing over the next couple of days. I would love to see it get back to that $4.50 level, and then more importantly than anything else, to just keep this strong volume flowing in. These stocks move so much based off sentiment and just like pure momentum. So I just want to see this same level of bullish intensity to continue. So I will be watching it closely to the upside.
Yeah, I don't blame you, Mike. These marijuana stocks are getting hot in the short term. I'm watching quite a bit as well. With my next play, I'm going with Disney again. Disney's been on fire. They had a great close today. They're right around the recent high. So if they can end up breaking like 115, 114.50 tomorrow, I will be watching for a continuation. They had really good price action at open and then actually continued up for most of the day. So I'll be watching Disney, Mike. They've been down a lot, but whenever you go look at that daily chart, they're starting to climb their way out of the hole.
Love to see it. All right, well, it's now about that time for today's momentum plays. And with the first one, we have TSM to the downside.
Yeah, Taiwan Semiconductors, pretty big stock here in the short term. There's even been a few bearish big money plays on this one, but go ahead and make them break below 136.50.
All right, with the next one, we have TLT also to the downside.
Yeah, pretty crazy stock. We've been watching this one a lot the past few weeks, and with Powell speaking this week, it'll get pretty volatile. So go ahead and watch 92.50.
All right, and then with the last one, we have UVXY to the upside.
Yeah, if the market falls, this one should be great. Make it break above $7.05, just above that $7 resistance.
All right, so we have the upside level with UVXY, and then we have the downside level with TLT and TSM. These three stocks are on watch for potential day trades tomorrow, but in order for them to be plays, we need to see breakthroughs of the levels Tom listed. So UVXY would have to break above the level Tom listed, and then TSM and TLT would have to break below the levels Tom listed. We are looking for continuations in those directions. We're looking for strong movement and just, good momentum associated with these potential day trade setups. But while the momentum plays are over, we have a pretty exciting big money play from today, which is with ticker symbol XLE. So this is a $1.88 million trade with the XLE 95 strike call options that expire on May 17th of 2024. So we've been talking a lot about energy-related companies over the past, honestly, the past couple months now, Tom. Time has just flew by. But anyways, energy companies have been blasting higher, and this has definitely benefited the XLE ETF. It's basically just a bunch of energy companies all in one. Today, the big money put $1.8 million into the 95 strike call options. I think the setup's pretty good. My only concern is that the call options are a little bit far out of the money, so it would definitely be safer to get a strike a little bit closer, maybe to like that 93 strike or so.
Yeah, that would probably be a lot safer. This one doesn't move up like $5 all the time. Like, look how long it took it to get from 85 to 90, right? So it's pretty quick, but at the same time, kind of slow, but it has these good moves, right? So we've actually been following a different big money play on XLE from February 15th, and that one has been on fire ever since it got called out. So I bet that big money guy is really happy right now, Mike, with that $742,000 play. But yeah, the big money's been great. There's been a ton of great plays like Cart and a few others.
Yeah, he better be happy with gains like that. But Tom, I'll tell you, I think we're set for a pretty exciting week. We have Jerome Powell coming back. We have the market right at all-time highs, and we're starting to see a lot of great moves in both directions. We also have some pretty exciting news for all of you who have not already joined the Stocked Up trading floor. We very rarely do sales on this program, but there's now an opportunity for all of you who've been waiting to jump aboard. So basically, with the Stocked Up trading floor, you get full access to our army of trading robots. You can chat with Tom and myself all day long. And honestly, you get access to everything you could possibly need as a short-term trader, whether it's these big multi-million-dollar big money plays or even our weekly live events where, you can show up to the live event and, walk away learning something that you never even thought about before in the market. It's the best program for short-term trading, and especially over the past couple months, it has been on fire, especially with these big money plays. Some of the best ones have been BZ call options. These popped up by 525%. Again, we talked about this before it moved up in the Stocked Up trading floor. Another great one was some AAL call options. That was $1 million trade that moved up by 312%. Another great one was AVTR call options. This was called out on January 22nd. That popped up by 170%. There was another one with OKTA. This was a $667,000 trade that popped up by 132%. And this is just a very small list that just shows a snippet of all the great trades over the past couple of weeks and months. So come join us in the Stocked Up trading floor. It's the place to be. Everything from short-term day trading bots to swing trades that take a couple weeks and months, like these big money plays, to everything else you could possibly need. And while we're talking about the trading floor, Tom, let's give a giant shout out to today's member of the day, which is Manny1526. He had a great day, and he just joined the trading floor about a week ago. So keep up the great work, and we hope to see some more screenshots like this one from you. But with that being said, Tom, I think we're all set. Do you have any final thoughts or anything else on your mind?
Yeah, just be aware of that volatility from Powell. I'm actually expecting a little bit of chop here coming in with the market, right? We've been fairly choppy today. It ran up quite a bit this morning, but I think that heading into the event, it might get a little bit choppy. And then obviously after the event or during it, we'll start to see that movement, I think, get a little bit more wild. And even like Nvidia getting kind of choppy with their event, right? They're not really getting that nice upwards pressure everyone was looking for right away, although it could come if they unveil something.
There we go. Well, it should be a great week. There's a lot of great moves that are set to happen in both directions. Don't forget to take advantage of the huge deal we're doing with the Stocked Up trading floor. Use coupon code BIGMONEY on the yearly plan to save a whole lot. So again, we don't do sales that often, so you have to strike on them while we do them. Besides that, thank you all so much for watching, and let's crush it this week.